Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Open Peace podcast. I'm Aboud, and today we're joined by our special guests from the Bedouin community, Adib Dabes, and of course our very good friends, Jared, Amir, and Kane. Um, I have been waiting for this episode for a pretty long time now because I think I did have one or two Bedouin friends who I met, but I didn't get the chance to get uh, deeper into the culture and the traditions of the Bedouins. And really, I think today, Adib, you're going to give us maybe a kind of a nice perspective and like an introduction to the community. So I'm very excited to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so
Amazing.
much.
So, yeah, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll start from there.
Okay. So my name in Arabic is Adib Dabes. I come from a Bedouin community in the south of Israel. It's called Rahat. Um, and in Rahat, it's like a collection of a lot of tribes. And that's how people think of themselves. Like that's how we identify each other from our last names. So
Mhm.
you have the biggest family here would be El Kernawi, El Huzayel, El Ubra, which each one of those would vary between 5,000 and 10,000 members of the family. Um, Myself, I've lived in somewhat of a mixed lifestyle because I had the ability to study outside of Rahat, more of in the Jewish community in Shoval and in Bet Kama and in Eshel Anasi. And that education gave me a lot of perspective on who are the Bedouins and where we fit in this very interesting cycle of history that we're experiencing today. I would say that there's a lot to learn from the old ways of the Bedouin people. And even for Bedouin people today and Arabic people, I mean, every person all over the world can learn a lot from the values and the cultural cues that the Bedouins had way back when. Yeah.
I'm sure they can. And what do you think, like an example would be that can be learned from? Some kind of wisdom, some kind of patience, maybe? Because
Yeah.
they
Uh,
is it true that the Bedouins do move a lot around the country, or these days are they more stable in their
Definitely more
where they
stable now,
stay?
right?
well, I did a course on
Or
this.
is this, because
I did
when I
like a
say
little
Bedouins,
course.
also I'm talking about also like there are some Bedouins who do like move, right?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I'll be more specific. I'll explain. Well, what's the difference between Bedouins today and Bedouins of the
That's the
old
idea.
ways? The Bedouins, the way that they originally came to be was that they are the people of the desert. Okay, the word Badu means the beginning. So these are the people that came from the oasis. They came from um, very
Right. Bidaya
variation.
means beginning in Arabic. So
Exactly. So it's like a variation of people that came from some Arabic countries. For example, like we talked about Morocco before, Egypt, Jordan. Um, what else? Oh, Saudi Arabia. All these places. And when armies wanted to recruit people for their efforts, there were people who just didn't feel like serving in an army to conquer other
mhm.
people, so they just left. And when they left, they were basically um, they were pursued by the authorities. They were shot on sight. So the Bedouins would move for their survival. That's how it is, right? That's how they used to do it. Like they move from country to country, from desert to desert, and they learn
Mhm.
how to survive in those environments. Now, the Bedouins that we meet today are the same variation of people that came from the desert.
Mhm.
But here's the thing, they settled in the land that we call Israel slash Palestine, whatever you want to call it. They
Mhm.
settled here about 200 years ago. Okay? They settled here because they felt that this was a place that allowed them to move freely, um, find water, uh, make trade with the locals and the authorities,
Hmm.
and they lived a very humble life. You know, they didn't acquire too much land. Uh, I mean, by principle, they couldn't, right? If the
Yeah.
authorities don't like you, then how could you buy land?
Mhm.
Um, and let's see, a little point I wanted to make was that in the last 200 years, they didn't move quite a lot. They moved, let's say, a kilometer here and there because the placement of the tent was strategic to the time of year. So,
Mhm.
in a time of year that there would be rain, for example, they would find a place that would be more suitable for their living when there's rain, as opposed to when it's summer and it's soaring hot outside. So, you want to find a place that is strategically located for your living at that time. And that's what Bedouins are uh, in the last, let's say, 100 years.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a semi-nomadic lifestyle. It's still moving, but not like across deserts, not too far away, not
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with the authorities coming in like 100 years ago,
yeah.
uh, with the British, I believe
Mm.
I have a story from my grandma. She told me about the first time she saw a jeep.
Mm.
Mm.
She lost she lost everything when she saw that jeep. She was sure it was like some kind of horse that came from India or something like that. It was so exotic. It
Like
was
a horse
so
that is covered
weird.
with metal or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was
Yeah.
mean, I
like,
Oh,
can
what
imagine.
the heck is that? And
yeah.
the authorities, the Brits, were starting to make accounts. How many sheep do you have? How many cows do you have? And
Mm.
and they would tax you accordingly.
Mhm.
Um, Now, at that point, there was little to no movement in terms of like living standards.
Yeah.
Now, what happened in 1948 was that a lot of the locals, Arabic and Bedouin, were just pushed out of wherever they lived. So some stayed in Israel, and some fled to other countries, other Arabic countries, and yeah, that's what we're
That's interesting.
seeing today. Yeah,
Yeah. I guess
people
now
had to move.
in this
When you
day and
say
age, you probably don't have to move either as much because you have more solid housing, and so if it's only for survival that you're moving, it's probably less necessary.
it's less necessary, and it's also engineered and manufactured to be this way.
Mm.
Right.
You
By
see,
who?
after 48, the authorities wanted to have a plan to settle these people. You know, like to get
Mhm.
them to have um, a structure, some social
Fixed
structure.
housing. Yeah. Fixed
Yeah.
housing.
Yeah.
Fixed. Yeah. Definitely.
When you say the when you see the relationship between Rahat and Shoval, right? These two communities in the south, is that once the Bedouins settled in this village called El Huzayl, it wasn't Rahat beforehand; it was El
Mhm.
Huzayl. Um, they started working with the local um, Jewish population in agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
So more prosperity to that family and Huzael, and more prosperity to Shoval,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Right.
thus attracting more and more families to settle down in Rahat, not just as a business motivation. It was for survival.
Yeah.
Again, when they were misplaced, my mom, she tells me about stories of walking in the desert when she was eight, 8 years old,
Wow.
in the soaring heat, having
Mm-hmm.
to walk that distance and turning off the lights just in case there would be a patrol that would see them.
It's
And
crazy.
that's what we're living in right now.
Crazy. And I,
Yeah.
I want to touch on a little bit, Adib, because obviously I'm from Cheval, and we've been neighbors unbeknownst to each other. We only met a couple of weeks ago, but we've been neighbors for a very long time. And I personally feel like the connection that Cheval and Rahat have and have had, over generations is something that's very important, and something that maybe a lot of people from the central region of Israel maybe aren't that aware of. They don't realize that, down south, Bedouin communities and Jewish communities, there's a lot of
Oh, Amir cutting out,
We lost him there.
being lost in the ether again.
It's Rahat.
Yeah.
Well, Adib, until Amir comes back,
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, until Amir comes back, I really love the kind of this traditional, like, how do you say, having the tent, sitting in the tent and on the ground and having this traditional food. Do you do it from time to time? I would love you if you invite us. I'll bring you some free tahini.
We'll make tahini together.
But really,
Yeah.
like,
For it.
yeah, I mean, my family has a tahini factory. I'll bring you a brand. But
Oh.
seriously, like,
Wow. Really?
yeah, maybe you know it. Tahini Har Bracha. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a sponsor. Just until Amir comes back. Thank you so much.
Do you get like money out of it? Do you get some schmeckles here and there?
Like you mean for the podcast?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet.
guys.
Jared's pissed off we
Sponsors.
don't get yet, but
We need a sponsorship, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Jared, your mic is off, buddy.
We
You're
can
shilling
sell.
out for your family's show, and we're not even getting any money out of it.
I mean,
We
you
can
know,
sell
well,
Arabic rugs, man. We can sell rugs.
Yeah.
We can
Rugs?
sell the best rugs, like Bedouin rugs.
ooh,
Bedouins.
I
That's
always,
doing this stuff, man.
I always associated good quality rugs with Persians.
It was definitely a big thing in the Persian Empire, but Bedouins is like that's their culture is sitting on rugs and pillows and eating humongous meals, right? I love the
Yeah.
That
Bedouin.
makes sense.
I've been to I forget where it was, but we stayed in a big group at a Bedouin camp, I guess you would call it, and they fed us. It was amazing. It was maybe 100 people in that tent. It was crazy.
Yeah.
wow.
There's something
Yeah.
of the journey of the Khan or something. Probably that was the one that you saw.
Yeah,
Look, there's
Yeah.
a lot. There's a lot of ways to make money. I would suggest that if you're going to make money, at least make it authentic. At least make it something that other generations can benefit from. That's my take
It
on
speaks about your culture, maybe, or like your background, or some way, in some
Yeah.
way, like a local product. People love the local products.
I
Yeah.
think that if you're going to have a Bedouin product, right? Do a journey type thing. Take people on journeys. Yeah.
You
Oh, that's
you
what I
you
do.
Mean, you mean like
In my
travels?
community, so
Yeah.
I mean, like people do that already. Like I hiked the Israel Trail, and I was going
Yeah.
through the way down south, And there's just like Bedouins who put up tents all along the whole trail saying, and like they're not even home. They're just like with signs up in like English, Arabic, Hebrew, Russian, just saying like, yeah, because sit down, have some water, have some coffee, sit in the shade, and then go on your way. Like they're not even there using it. They just put it up for people who are hiking the trail.
That's
I love
awesome.
that. Yeah.
I mean, Adib, that's my like kind of my second job. I'm a tour guide, and maybe you heard about the Samaritan community. So it's a big passion of me to take people around and show them, the culture and traditions. And you're definitely more invited, more than welcome to come here.
I shall.
I see a
shall.
really nice resemblance of like the Bedouins and also like the old Hebrews. Basically, the Hebrews also kind of used to be living almost like the life of the Bedouins,
Yeah, like a semi-nomadic type thing. Well, like the ancients were herders, at least in the kingdom of Judah, from what I know. So it makes sense that they were pretty mobile.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's
Amazing.
not that strange, really, is it? Well, it wasn't that strange back then for communities to travel around. Like we all did it. It's just the Bedouins kept doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to like show you this website like that I've seen, and you can tell us this is called they call it the Bedouin Experience, and they say here the Bedouin hospitality is a truly unrivaled experience, one which is both highly enjoyable and culturally engaging. These are the rugs you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, exactly. There are businesses that make it like handcrafted in Ksifa. And Ksifa is like a Bedouin community up east of Rahat. Yeah. And they make
It says, like connect with a long forgotten way of life. Yeah.
They make really authentic ones. Like these are authentic designs.
Handmade.
Meaning that they came from generations before. Like some would even resemble Egyptian rugs. Some would even resemble Jordanian or Yemenite rugs, because the source of where these people came from is the inspiration that they bring in creating the rugs, the dresses, the attire that the male, the man wears. And all the stuff you put on the camel, like the sacks and stuff, and like
yeah.
There's something called a hodaj. You know what a hodaj is?
No, explain.
Look it up. Just look. Look.
I can't be bothered to explain this shit to you.
You need to see it. You need to see.
Okay, that's fair.
Is that a hodaj? Does it look like this?
Does it relate to a camel? Does it have a camel? No. Oh yeah.
Not a hodaj.
Wait.
I mean, that looks like that's a cow, not a camel.
That's not
okay.
But I mean, it's a hodaj. That's what.
I also like the gay lizard.
It's a camel hodaj.
Okay. Camel hodaj.
Wait, go to the gay lizard.
Oh, sorry.
There's a gay lizard.
I mean, it depends how you.
I mean, there was like a lizard holding a gay pride flag in its mouth. I just wanted to bring that up because it looks funny.
Hodaj. Can you look it up in Hebrew, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, it might help actually. Actually, it might help to look it up in Arabic. No.
If anybody here knows Arabic, be my guest.
Well, I mean, Abu does. He lived. Yeah.
How would you call it in Arabic? Do you think?
Hodaj.
Hodaj, really?
As I said, it's an Arabic word.
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Hodaj, Jamal, maybe. That's what would. Oh, cool. Is that it? Okay, let me see.
Found it?
If that's it, that's pretty neat, guys.
Well,
that's like some. Oh, not this one. Sorry, this one. Is that it? Oh, that's an elephant. But okay.
That's good. That's good.
It's kind of like it.
Oh, that's it.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Oh, I see.
There's one. I think there's one on the.
It's like a platform for them to sit on while they ride.
Like this, right?
It's like a
on the left. There's one on the left. Oh yeah.
Palace thing.
The left. left, more?
Left, like this.
Yeah,
Left,
yeah, this
left,
one.
small, other
Yeah, that's a whole
small. Oh, look
different.
at that! It's like a little house.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
that's how
Yo, I'd sit
that's
inside that and just vibe for hours.
that's how you know that someone is getting married.
okay.
Uh-huh. Is that the only function it
Oh.
serves?
Well, it's supposed to be like for damn. Okay, guys, society and the way that it is today is very, very different than what
Right.
Bedouins did. Okay,
Mhm.
so God damn it, all this information in my mind. What am I doing with it? Look, this is the muezzin, by the way. Yeah. Okay, so when there's a group of Bedouins that live in one side of the desert, and there's another group of Bedouins that live in this side of the desert, they travel to that family in order to ask for marriage and stuff, right?
Right, yeah.
Or for trade and stuff. Like it would be situations like, look, bro, look, bro. I want your sister. And he's like, okay, fine. I want your sister. And he's like, well, I don't have a sister. Well, what do we do? Fine. I'll give you my mother. Here you go, bro. You know, that
Okay.
kind stuff like that. But
Oh, it's
but
called the bedel. Jawaz al bedel, they call it in Arabic, which means kind
yeah,
of like the marriage, exchange marriage. Something like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
The exchange.
Wife swap. The original wife
Wha-
swap.
Oof. God. Okay. I wouldn't use that term. Google would
No,
not agree
it's a
with
dictionary,
you using that term. Anyways,
Yeah, but I see your
I'm,
point.
I'm trying to fix my lighting. I got people complaining they can't see me in the comments.
That's
Yeah.
odd. I see you pretty well. Maybe
So-
it's
Is
the
it? I
internet.
mean, I'm holding my phone at me. Right
you
now.
you would have the hodaj, right?
Yeah.
As it's a ceremony, sort of a ceremony. You guys walk in a convoy situation where you would have one Bedouin holding that camel and walking, leading the convoy, and the hodaj and some other materials and stuff like
No.
cows
No.
and sheep and other stuff for the wedding. So it's very ceremonious to
Mhm.
have weddings. Like if people today spend 1,000,000 shekels for a wedding,
hmm
think of what that means in a desert.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You
yeah, I
know?
can imagine. And also the music I heard is really beautiful.
Yeah,
The Bedouin music.
I have a friend that did like research and anthropology about the Bedouin. Um, God, what's it called?
Melodies?
No. I'm Bedouin and I forgot the word. Just a sec. I think it's called. Um, this is the kind of dancing.
Okay.
The
Oh, okay.
word dubke. No, dubke. God damn it, it's not
That
dubke.
is like a wedding dance, I think, no? Yeah.
Try to look it up.
There's dabke, which is more like seen as an Arabic tradition to dance like that.
Right.
We have something called. God damn, I forgot the word.
Is it in Arabic or in Hebrew?
No, it's in
It'll be in
Arabic.
Arabic.
So say it in Arabic. Aboud speaks Arabic. His name is Abdullah.
Abdullah Cohen.
Yeah.
Dahiya,
Oh, I know
Dahiya,
the Hia.
Well, it
I
came
know
to
that.
that one.
Okay.
All right.
right.
My God,
And it's different
was-
the way they dance.
it was a rap battle.
Wow.
Originally, the guys speaking,
Mhm.
you know, all that. These are actually lyrics, but they're in like ancient Bedouin tongue, of which
Wow.
I don't understand. I don't know what they're saying. It's a semi rap battle that is happening.
Semi-rap battle.
Yeah. You would have like um, like a row of 100 people. Well, I don't know if it would be 100 because it's the desert. Who knows how many people? All your cousins. They would be
I mean,
in a
that looks like
line,
100.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some that have like thousands of people in it. It's nuts. I mean, these people are writing each other in order to like be a part of the dahiya. The
Yeah.
dahiya originally was like respect, you know, like it would be dialogue that you would have between the two families. So one dahiya master would be on one side, and the other dahiya master would be on the other, and they would say things that would give respect to each other. Oh, you are good at this, and you guys are amazing in this, and you guys are really good at battles and stuff. You
It's
really
like the
good at
opposite
trade.
of diss rap, rap when they
Yeah.
diss.
Yeah.
And
It's clean
sometimes
rap.
they would diss.
Oh.
Sometimes if they were
Sometimes.
That's
like,
it's okay.
yeah, yeah, you guys were like, we didn't like what you did in that war. You guys have too many girls, and that means this about you, and all that. And the other rapist must know how to
Rapist.
um,
A
must know
rapper,
how,
yeah.
rapper must know how to answer in the
Yeah.
dahiya. Yeah. Um, super interesting,
Yeah.
super cool.
That's crazy though.
Ja-
I've never heard that before. This is the first time
Jared
I've ever heard anything like that. Yeah, Jared's
Jared
dying.
broke. Which was it? The dahiya or the rapist one?
It's because you said rapist and it was totally innocent, but it sounded terrible.
It's all
But I
Yeah.
was curious about something though, Adib. Because
Yeah.
obviously the Bedouin community is
Oh, I'm back.
he's back, he's back. The Bedouins are famous
Oh,
for their hospitality and welcoming
yeah.
guests and allowing people, like even Jared said, they set up this whole
Yeah, a
idea
little,
for people to stop.
yeah, a
But
little tent pit stop. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that to me, man. You can't do that.
What? Was the joke too good? I don't know.
It was an accidental joke, and those are the funniest.
It's okay.
I
wow,
hope the
Jared's
guys,
enjoying this
comments
time.
so mature.
I just hope the comments
Oh,
are enjoying this, you know?
oh, I
Yeah.
hope they are too. Oh my god, I need a drink.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did this come from in the culture? This idea of welcoming guests. Why is it so famous with Bedouins and other cultures are not so known for it?
Well, the way I think about it is that it's sort of like Darwin's theory, right? The survival to the fittest, those that are fittest to cooperate and um, have strong values between other cultures, those survive.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but the way that we've been introduced to it growing up was that when you live in a desert, company is very rare. First of all, it's
Yeah.
super
That's
super rare.
true.
Yeah.
And when you do have a guest, there are things that you do out of respect for the person in front of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, imagine being a Bedouin in the desert. You know, probably if you lost your camel, or if you don't have water, or if you don't have food, chances that you're not going to survive, right?
Mm.
So Bedouin culture explicitly states rules of which how you engage with someone from somewhere else, someone different, and that is far away from their home.
I'll say so. There are
Um,
like specific rules just for
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. There's rituals with the coffee that
Yeah.
we offer coffee. There's values behind the coffee, the bitterness of the desert, and and oh yeah,
The harsh survival, maybe, or
and like and how sorry, I forget the words, and how sharp you must be in order to survive in the
how
desert.
sharp
Right.
and tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah.
Yeah, so
Sharp is also the word you probably use in English.
yeah, so that would sharpen your senses. The
Mm,
coffee.
yeah.
It's made
But-
with hail. It's made with hail, and it's
Yes.
there's the traditional way to creating the drink. Um, so you offer, you welcome people to stay for 3 days. Okay, and each day that you give the cup of coffee, it has a different meaning to it. So
yeah.
the first day would be uh, to welcome the person. Second day would be to tell him you're safe, you are safe here. And the third day would be as a question, would pose a question. Are you here for peace or are you here for war?
Mm.
Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be the first day?
That's
no,
beautiful.
that's the third day. You
Yeah.
don't ask anybody's business on the
Uh,
first
okay.
3 days. But the third day, you do. Third day, you
That's
ask whether or not the person is here to help or to harm. Yeah.
interesting.
Wow,
And is it
that's really
true
nice.
that the amount of coffee that they give you symbolizes something? Like if they fill
Yeah,
it, they want you to get lost, something like that.
exactly.
That you
Yep.
stay. That's true.
If they fill it a lot,
If they fill it to its like
To the
brim, to the brim.
top.
Yeah. If they fill it to the
That
brim,
means it's
that
time
means
to
get the
leave.
heck out of there.
Yeah, that means it's time to leave. That's crazy. And
Yeah.
why is that? Where did that spawn from?
I feel like that's something to do with like ancient Eastern cultures. You know, I know that China also does some similar ritual.
Mm.
Um, Yet I feel that it was came to be because there is a rule, which I'm thinking about it now. It's like sort of like inside you when you're like grown into the Bedouin culture,
Mm.
is that there would be things that you want to say. There may be like a lot of things that you want to say. Maybe you think that you're super smart, okay? In the Bedouin culture, you don't have to talk, right? Most of the time, it's preferable that you don't talk because we try our best to not inspire um, conflict with people around us. Okay, that's a sort of like survival mechanism, I guess,
Sure.
in the desert. You know,
Yeah.
um, so it's very interesting. Like I don't know if you met a lot of Bedouins, but if you do, I would I would like you to notice whether or not the person in front of you wants to say something, they think something, like their body really wants to say something, but they're not saying it, is because they're doing it out of respect.
Mm.
Wow.
They're
Wow.
they're just being very respectful, and sometimes you put respect over any other value or other thing that you need. Respect is number one in Arabic in Bedouin culture.
Yeah.
Number one, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, to
makes
elderly and to outsiders. Those are like,
and that requires a lot of patience. And I'm sure the Bedouins acquired patience by their way of living, their old way of living. So
have you been
because
to the
not
have you been to the desert, Abud?
I think maybe like I mean in Jordan,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but not
Yeah.
enough. I really want to go. I think my next one is going to be like in Mitzpe Ramon, like next month, to
Hmm.
see this like the stars. I think they have really beautiful views of the sky
Oh yeah.
at night over there, but not enough. I really want to experience the desert. better. So
The thing is, a lot of like mental health people, like psychologists and coaches and people, they would say like, you need to relax, do meditation, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Bedouin culture
Mm.
has probably been um, working on themselves for the past 400 to 500 years, you know, because when
Yeah.
you're in the desert and you're alone, which is most of the time, and you're actually living the elements, you're living the land, you're living every situation that life is bringing forth. Sometimes you may have 10 brothers or 10 brothers and sisters. In the old ways, these 10, probably 5 would survive.
Mm.
So you
Yeah.
have to be super aware about what creatures are around you, what symbolizes their presence, uh, what is silence, what is completely quiet, and what is sort of like I can hear something. You become so sharp, you become so able to notice little things about your surroundings that you become it. You become, it's like they say nomad.
wow, okay, I see
They
what
say
you mean.
nomad, but you're not just a nomad, you are the desert. You are
You, you're
completely
so tuned.
tranquil.
You're so attuned to your senses. That's what you mean.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what
I
I'm
mean, there are.
asking. That's what I'm asking, Abud.
No, I mean, I did hear some people and some actors before they go to film because they want to kind of like show a really good body. They make them not drink water for a long time, and they tell you like at the third day they start to even smell water because of how thirsty they are. So, so being attuned to your senses. How do they deal with the desert when it comes to water?
Oh, they memorize. They memorize like spots that may have wells around the desert.
Okay.
So they needed to be really good at navigation in the desert. So again, being attuned to nature, you have to know what stars symbolize what direction. You have to know uh, the direction of the sea. You have to know the season of the year, and the direction of the sun, meaning like it differs,
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the wind. So there's many mechanisms you can learn today in order to know how to navigate.
Yeah.
That's what
I
they
have to
do
tell
with
you, my favorite shows on Discovery Channel are like the survival ones. I really love them. So
Yeah.
it's not like a chance thing that they're like, oh, the Bedouins, well, we'll take them for scouts in the military. I wonder why,
Yeah.
you
Because
Yeah.
know?
they're masters at it already. Yeah. It's perfected
Yeah.
it for hundreds of years. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Bedouins in the army, there's some questions in our comments that I would like to get your opinion on. Well, here's the first one I want to show you. This one from Jeremy251. Are Bedouin communities split on how they view the IDF or Israeli policies, or is there some sort of consensus amongst the people? And the second one is somebody responding to them by just saying, from Z, Bedouins are Palestinians. IDF will treat them the same as other Palestinians. You're a Bedouin. Uh, are they correct? Let us know.
Okay, guys. I understand that we are very much in political turmoil these days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I firmly stand as a bridge between cultures. Okay,
Mhm.
between the Jewish, the Arabic, the Bedouin, the Palestinian. I respect all. Okay, that's my view. I just want to just let everybody know that's where I stand.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, we have many Arabic Bedouin families here in Rahat that serve, that send their children to the army. Um, I was going to be one, yet I could not, because if I would have, that would have hurt my family directly. You see, big families of Bedouins that have the ability to protect themselves from radicalistic people, you know,
Yeah.
that would just like do violent stuff against people who would go and serve in the police or the army. Okay, those are the people that are somewhat protected from revenge, I guess. Uh, Now you're free to do the service if you want, or you could also not do it if you want. Right? It's totally up to you. The Bedouins, the majority of Bedouins, don't view themselves as Palestinians. Most,
Hmm.
okay?
Most.
Sure, there may be more of a connection to the Palestinian way of life because over the years, more and more Palestinians married into Bedouin families. So, thus, there would be more of a connection to Palestinian ideology and um, and believing in the Palestinian state. Now, does the IDF treat them differently? Look, look, this is a tough question. It's a tough question. We, our work, mine, Aboud, Jared, and Kane's work, and also um, our friend, I totally forgot his name. I'm blanking on it.
Yeah.
Amir. Yeah, Amir.
Tamir. Also Amir's work is to bridge the gap, is to see how we cooperate and how we are,
Yeah. To be a bridge of peace.
yeah, and how there is a difference. Okay, there's a difference between religious and political views. Okay, there's a difference. Now, you don't have to mix each other. I know it's quite strange in a place like this, but you don't have to mix them. You don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, it just so happened to be that there would be more uh, people that are close to their religious side that would think that they're more Palestinian than Bedouin. Okay,
Yeah.
our job is to view this life that we have here as very fragile. It's always been fragile. It's always been like that. And how we could keep the peace is by seeing each other, viewing the rights that we all have as human beings, and fighting for them every day. Every day that someone says some racial slur to a person here and there, that's the work. It's not easy, and it's not as simple as saying this person is Palestinian, person is Israeli. No, it's not very simple. We are a people, okay, and we have to work together in order to maintain this structure, okay. And if someday Palestine will have independence, well, amazing,
Mhm.
perfect.
Yeah.
How do you work in order to preserving the human rights that we all have, even if there will be one state or two?
Yeah.
And that's the work, guys.
Yeah.
Preserving human rights.
And treating everyone
Yeah.
fairly and equally. That's true.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
I
that-
don't know if you know a little bit or much about the community, the Samaritan community, but we do try to be a bridge of peace between both sides. Because, I mean, I have the Palestinian and the Israeli ID, and also even Jordanian. So
Yeah.
we try to set an example of how, like, hey, we're getting along with both people.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Exactly. Do
Sure.
you do this famous dish called come on, say it with me? It's a very like
Magluba.
ricey. Magluba
Magluba.
is also a really nice one, but it's a very ricey one with like some milk and
Rice.
mansef.
No.
Mansef.
Mansef.
Do you do that?
Oh wow. We had a video that how Amir and I met was walking to this place and doing like a little interview with the person that does Mansaf in Rahat. And he explained the whole like history of Mansaf. So
Cool. Because
yeah.
it's a very big of a dish to the point where it started to become a verb in Arabic, I believe. Nasefni, they say. Is it from that?
Really?
Maybe it's from that. It means like
Like-
he kind of killed me because it's too
Nasefni.
much food. So
Oh.
maybe it's from that. I'm not sure.
I was going to say he filled me up, but
Filled
I'm
me
not
up.
gonna
Okay.
say it. No, don't say that, Aboud.
Got it. I see.
Look,
Jared, be careful
we're
over there.
good.
Don't let the virus of laughing go ahead of you.
Yeah. Need to be careful what we say around this immature fool.
Okay, no, Jared, we're good.
We're good.
Okay, Mansaf is a.
I've never heard of myself.
Bedouins didn't have rice. We didn't have rice, guys. There was no rice in the desert.
Although a lot of
Oh.
yogurt. Lebanon.
We
Oh,
did.
yogurt's delicious.
Yogurt is delicious. Now we did have yogurt because we could produce it from cows and from sheep that we had, and bread because Bedouins would have traded with the local Arabic population and the Jewish population to get grain, to get wheat. So there, you would have a sheep, and I will have a sack of grain. And from this sack of grain, we would, in my childhood, we had like these two pieces of rock that would be circular shape that looked like it was chiseled by a person, chiseled in that shape. And it would be two rocks. One would lay beneath and one would lay on top. I'm having flashbacks to my childhood. I'm sorry. You would have like
Enjoy it.
you would have like the amount of grain that you want, so you put it in the center, and then you start spinning the top stone, and it would grind that grain.
Wow.
So it would produce flour, of which you would make
Bread.
Bedouin pita or lafa, or like the ones that are like super
Very
thin.
thin.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's tasty.
We call this khubz saj.
Khubsaj.
Gosh.
Okay.
So you would take that and put it on the like round globe dome metal, and you would cook it on that for a few seconds. Really, you don't need much. And you would take the yogurt and the bread, and you would cut it into like little pieces, right? You would make broth with the yogurt, with like chicken or something.
Yeah.
So it's not kosher to all
Sounds
those
good.
asking. It's not
Right.
kosher, but it would have yogurt, bread, and
When you say bread,
once a week,
Once
chicken.
a week.
Once a week, you would have a chicken.
So
how.
for the other 6 days of the week, it was just bread and yogurt. But then on that one magical day, you got to have chicken with it.
By the way, Adib, when you say khubz saj, you really remind me of what we do in the Passover, because we have this thing called saj, which kind of looks like this, and we
Oh.
have the bread on it. So I think that's what I assume the saj looks like in the bread, right?
Wow.
These are two
The-
Samaritans, by the way. On the,
I'll be
making the bread.
specific. I'll be specific. The saj is the dome.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, the dome itself is the saj.
Mhm.
The
Like here in the
bread
picture.
is just khubz.
On the left is the dome, you see.
Yeah, it sits on top of a few rocks, and that's how you cook. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. We should really, have this experience here on the team. I've been thinking about having it at least once. So
Yeah.
تفضلوا خبرة تفضلوا.
I mean, I want to go. I gotta get me some more of that Bedouin coffee. Anyway, that stuff kicks like a mule. I love it.
It's
Okay.
really strong.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really strong coffee. It's great though.
It
Let's
is.
hope you don't get a full glass though, Jared.
Hey, if I get a full glass, I'll be like, hey, okay, I'll take it like a shot and then I'll leave. I just want the coffee.
Oh god, that coffee! It's addictive. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good
Really
though.
It's good.
Hmm.
Yeah, there
I
any
think there was.
people getting crazy addicted to the coffee because it's so strong. Like if you don't have some quite frequently, you might feel a bit sick.
Yeah.
We just had like a little funeral,
Really.
these past 3 days, and it just reminded me like when my mother's funeral, my grandmother's funeral like 4 years ago happened. I couldn't believe what I was experiencing, bro. I was pounding that coffee like every like
Just going after it.
10, 20 minutes just to see if I
Wow.
was still alive, just to deal with like the
Yeah.
pain, the sorrow, all that.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Sure.
She was probably like the last beacon of Bedouin culture. Like you
Like
could
old
ask her,
No,
you
like,
could ask her questions about like hardcore Bedouin life, and she
Yeah,
tried.
she'd know it.
She tried a lot. We had a language barrier though, because she would speak ancient Bedouin, of which I would not understand.
There's an actual
Wait,
language called that.
Wait, so there's
Bedouin?
like the language divide between generations is like that harsh?
Yes,
Jesus.
yes, yes. Like
Yeah.
I think that Bedouin culture is slowly but surely it's going to die. Like it's going to start with the language, because like that's how we identify with our ancestors is the language.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And once you don't have the language, then basically all you're left is like the shallow, like, oh look, we're in a tent and we're eating.
I mean, this
Side.
story reminds me, Adib, not to cut you out, but this story reminds me of like the Samaritan community that almost got, wiped out, because like 3,000 years ago there was known to be close to 1 million. 100 years ago there was known to be close to 150 people. But we're still like today we're 800, and we're still very. We were keeping the traditions and culture and language also pretty well. So I think you don't have to lose hope. There's more than
How do you preserve the ancient language?
the ancient language. We have two, like in this village that I live in, we have two volunteers who volunteer to teach our young generation the ancient Hebrew. Like when you're 5 years old, you have this school at like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. that you go to and you learn it. These two volunteers, like one of them taught me even 20 years ago. And they are so patient. They're so patient. And it's just simply, just you grow up in this life. I think we're having a really good balance of the old world and the modern world, ancient culture and modern culture. So you shouldn't lose hope. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's where our duty comes in, doesn't it? to preserve it and to
100%.
research
To
it.
preserve it and to kind of like blend it into the modern world in a smooth way, because the modern world, you can see why it can affect the cultures and ancient traditions, and can even wipe it out to some degrees, but there's a good way to kind of mix it without losing the essence of it. So
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things that the modern world is really struggling to deal with, because like at least one language, unique language, dies out, as in like loses its last native speaker, like every week. I think is the current rate. Like 10 years ago, there was something close to like 10,000 unique languages in the world in 2010, which was down from like 30,000 or something like that back in the 1950s. And like I think at this point we're down to like just 5,000 unique languages in this year. I need to catch up on that, but yeah,
Wow.
it's because languages are just dying left and right. But there's ways
well,
to try to
when
save
it
them,
comes to
bring them
ancient
back.
Hebrew, we don't use it, by the way, in our daily lives. We only use it in prayers, ceremonies, holidays.
Yeah,
I used it
Yeah.
once to cheat on a test,
but at least it's
um,
preserved.
finance test.
It's a good,
Yeah.
good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanted to actually ask something quick, because you mentioned the transition between from the old language to the new. How did that work then? Because your parents' generation must have been able to understand their parents, but also you, right? So how did that happen?
Wow, that's a very good question, Kane. Well, okay, here's the thing. When my parents settled, they were experiencing what you would call a cultural shock.
Mm.
Because they had to work very hard to learn the new language, the new mandatory language, Hebrew. And because they were working with Jewish people, so they were acquiring the language while working with the new population that was living in the area. Somewhat new, right? And when they did that, it feels to me that they've started mixing well, it was a process that happened a bit before. When the Brits came, they started using words, like they tried to talk to the locals in English. So a lot of the words that you hear in Bedouin Arabic are actually English.
Really?
Have you ever heard about the word gotar?
Gotar?
Gotar.
No, what's the...
I don't know that one.
Okay, gotar means go there.
Oh shit! Yo! Yo, that's Holland.
Now they would say gotar gad, go there, go there.
Go there.
Well, that means there, yeah, in Arabic.
Yeah, so go there. So what? Like, what's going on, guys? We're using the same word. You said gotar, like meaning go there, or trak. Trak means, what would that mean? What do you guys think?
Trak?
Truck. Yeah, like as in how does that track?
Trak like a tractor, right?
Tractor.
Like a tractor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Tractor or a truck.
Boss. What is boss?
The bus.
Bus?
It's a bus. Perfect.
Ah,
Right, yeah, bus is a bus, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the
So
word bus with an accent.
it became infused into the Bedouin language, right?
That's great.
And when they started speaking more Hebrew, there's words we use that are infused in Hebrew already. Like we share words like sababa. Sababa. What's sababa? Oh, ashkara. Maze ashkara.
Ashkara is like when you say like when you say what a timing or something like that.
Ashkara
Right.
is like here's the evidence.
Deliberately, something like that.
Here it is, bro. Like ashkara, this is what it
Mbain,
is.
they say.
Again,
In Arabic, in Arabic, you say mbain.
mbain, video,
Exactly.
exactly like that. So,
Which means like it's obvious.
so more and more of the words that were originally Bedouin were forgotten. So now my parents, when we grew up, they would teach us a mix of Hebrew and Arabic. That's why I'm fluent in Hebrew and Arabic. And I really wanted to learn English, so I just started speaking English. But again, the point was that more influence from the outside world has morphed the language, thus morphing the way that they would converse with their child, and their child would not know the original meaning of the words.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you do with that, bros?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, language can be very complicated, and unfortunately, we are out of time. And Abood has to go play soccer or something. I forget what he's trying to do.
Oh,
and
sorry,
yes,
that was a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That was
Yeah,
definitely
right.
a mistake. You lying bastard.
Wow.
Thank you to our sponsor.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen,
Rahat.
thank you so much for watching. Here at Open Peace, we do support good food because it does connect people. That's why you can buy Rahat tahini. Very healthy and very delicious. And thank you so much again for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, comment if you do have any questions for our beautiful guest here. And yeah, thank you so much for coming, Adib. Looking forward for our next one, and looking forward to meet you in person.
Yeah.
Get that coffee ready.
Namaste to you guys. You are very
you.
welcome. Very
And also,
welcome.
We will come.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I got to get there before I leave. But in case anybody's actually wondering about the language stuff I was saying, I found the language conservancy. I can't speak English anymore. I'm losing it. Where they were saying, yeah, conservancy.org. So where was it? Oh, yeah. So today there's more than 7,000 unique languages on the planet, and right now 2,900 or 41% are endangered. At current rates, 90% of all languages will become extinct in the next 100 years.
Wow.
So if there's a language your grandparents speak that you don't really know, take the time to learn it, because once it's gone, you're gonna really wish you had learned how to speak it.
Either that, or we'll teach it to an AI. But yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, as long as the computer speaks it, then we're cool. All right.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. I'm gonna now. If y'all excuse me, I have to smack a boot to a soccer game. You ready to go, boot? You're about to go at light speed.
No, actually, in real life, we have a Samaritan tournament, soccer tournament, like 6 teams. So, go ahead, Jared.
All right.
Oh.